Welcome to Perfect-ish, where it's not about having perfect time management, but about perfecting your relationship with time. I'm your host, Callie Brigham, and every week we'll talk all things time and how to maximize it without burnout or guilt. Whether we're chatting with an expert or I'm sharing my 20 years of time management experience, you'll learn simple strategies to make every moment count. Here, it's all about getting close to perfect-ish. So let's synchronize our watches and dive in. Today's guest is a true icon in every sense of the word. That's the word that just kept coming to my mind. Well, that and inspiration. So an icon and inspiration of style and strength and faith. Brianna Cannon is the founder, CEO, and sole designer behind the brand that bears her name, one that has taken first the accessory world by storm and now is a lifestyle brand featured all across the country. But before her signature bows and bold pieces became must-haves, she spent 20 years in the luxury retail space, managing some of the world's most prestigious brands. Get ready, girls. Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and at Neiman Marcus. She is a marketing and branding powerhouse and the definition of hands-on, overseeing every single detail from product design to packaging to wholesale partnerships. But above all, Brianna is a servant of Jesus and a devoted wife to Eric and a mama to, get this, 3 little boys, and at the time of the recording, a little girl on the way this June. But if you're listening now, Brianna's going to be holding her baby girl. So exciting. And her mission, and I love this thought, to be bold. Life is too short to be any other way. Bold in your style, bold in your faith, bold in life. And today we get to hear the story behind the sparkle. So please welcome my new friend, the amazing Brianna Cannon. Hey, Brianna.
Hi, what an intro. That was incredible.
Girl, it is all true. And let me just say, right before we pressed record, I got a message from my bestie, Crystal, who I know is one of your biggest fans and customers. Let's be clear.
She sure is.
She's both. But she sent me a text and she said, Callie, did you hear the news? And I said, what news? She said, a global media company just announced the top 100 women to know. Brianna, your name was on there.
That was quite a fun surprise to learn about yesterday. Yes, that's true. We're so excited. Thank
Oh my
you.
goodness. So yeah, congratulations. That's a huge, big deal. And, from that to now being on the Perfect-ish podcast, could you ask for anything more?
It's been a pretty great 48 hours.
Yeah, I'll say. So before we get into your story, I do want to say, first of all, I am wearing my very first Brianna Cannon headband purchase of any sort. Now, this is back from, I think this is 2021, 2022. This was my first one. I have others, but I thought I'm just going to wear
That's
the
a good
headband
one.
that started it all for me. It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
That one sold out quick and was sought after. You could probably sell that.
I could sell it. I could sell it and buy a couple more headbands. Now, I also have one of my favorite pairs of earrings, but they didn't quite
Oh, that's
blend,
pretty.
so I didn't. But okay, hold on. The most important thing are my favorite
Oh, look how
Brianna
cute you are.
Mhm.
Those are
Yeah.
awesome. I love those. Those are
These shades.
I'm
Yeah.
about a big pair of sunglasses. I always love big sunnies.
Yeah. These shades are some of my favorites. So
Those are so fun.
anyways,
Sweet. So
I wanted to showcase a few of my favorites, but how could you ever choose? So as we get started, Brianna, for those of you that are just discovering you, because you're a woman to know, describe for us, tell us a little bit about the heart and the style of your brand. And it, as I mentioned, it's not just about my headbands or my sunnies or my earrings. It's so much more. So as this lifestyle brand, tell us a little bit about you.
oh goodness, well, thank you. One of my most favorite things to talk about. So my husband and I, when we created this company, we really set out to create a brand that can just be unique and different in the sense that all of our designs are original. You can't find our designs anywhere else. I design everything. And one of my core values is if I wouldn't wear it, I don't make it. So I really kind of design for myself. And the wonderful thing to see is a lot of people love what I love. So that makes me really excited and happy when I see other people loving my designs. But truly, I think the little girl inside of me has always wanted to look pretty on a daily basis, and it doesn't mean that it has to be super ultra fancy, but every single thing that we create, whether it's an occasional piece or if it's casual or if it's dressy, we try to have some sort of really unique element to it, whether it's the buttons or the sparkle or the detail. That goes into every single design. So I think our designs are, number one, very colorful, number two, very feminine, number three, very bold, everything from accessories to clothing. But at the same time, our customer service is honestly, I think, probably unmatched. There might be some that are as good, but I don't think there's anything better. So we really, with those two things in mind, unique designs that are bold and feminine and beautiful, combined with just the way that we treat our customers and the way that we prioritize service, I just that it's the perfect brand. I think that's what we wanted.
It is the perfect brand. And so let's just talk a little bit about what you mean by your stellar customer service. What is that experience? How did that come to be? Obviously, I'm sure just like you're your own avatar for your style, you were probably your own avatar of how you want to be treated when you are a customer, when you're purchasing, when you're, looking at what you want to also represent yourself out in the public. So tell me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Well, as you mentioned, I did spend a lot of years in luxury retail, and just working in retail, I think gives you really different insight as to what customer service should look like. And I always talk about there's quite a difference between service and styling and selling. They're all different skills. They're all very important. Um, but we really want to treat people as if we are the hands and feet of Jesus. We're openly a Christian company, and that's in our core values. And so that's the number one thing that we think about. And I feel super blessed and very just fortunate in general to be able to run a company where we can just openly say that. I think that's really amazing. It's something that I've done throughout my entire career, though, because it's always been a piece of who I am. So I think having worked in the luxury sector, it gave me that experience to say, this is how the very best companies on earth treat their customers. Now, how can I tweak that and make that fit into our business model and into the mentality of loving like Jesus and serving like Jesus? So that goes from everything to how we package our orders, just with care, just thinking, how would I want to receive this box? When I'm opening this box, how do I want it to look? We don't want just items thrown into a box. We package them very thoughtfully and carefully, all the way to the interactions with customers in our store. So if you walk into our store, I always say, just like if someone walked into your house, you would not just sit on the couch and be like, hey, what's up from the couch? You would walk over to them and you would greet them and you would offer them a drink, and so it's uh, just a mentality that I think we have from top to bottom throughout the entire company and every facet of everything that we do. And we're certainly not going to argue with a customer over like a headband, So if we can do something to brighten our customers' day, then we are absolutely going to do it.
Yeah. I think it reminds me of a book. I don't know if you've read it. It's called Unreasonable Hospitality.
I've
And
not.
have you heard of that?
No, I should read that.
Oh, you absolutely should. It is by let me think if I can think of his name. He is a restaurateur and a chef in New York City. Okay. Will Guidara. I think that's his name. But he talks about not only he gives the story, Brianna, of he had an 11 Madison Park, I think was the name of the restaurant, like super exclusive, really amazing there in New York City. And he overheard a table talking about how they had a wonderful time in New York, but the only thing they didn't get to do was to get a hot dog from a hot dog stand, right? So he's listening to that and he calls over somebody from the restaurant. He's like, I need you to run out, or he may have as well. I need you to run out to a hot dog stand. I need you to grab a hot dog. Then he brought it into his chef and he said, now plate this. Really, of course, the chef was like, are you serious? A New York street hot dog, but plate it and make it look beautiful. And he brought it out to the clients and or the customers, the patrons. And the story is now what was their favorite part about their experience in New York City? It was the hot dog, right?
That's incredible. That I mean, truly a little above and beyond things that are not even difficult to do, but just require a little extra thought and effort. that is what we live for. Those moments make me so happy, and we have had, I mean, honestly, just thousands of emails from customers or reviews online just saying, "Your team just went above and beyond," and it's not even anything crazy. Like, that was probably not hard to do, but it was just thoughtful, and that's very important to us in our brand.
Yeah. And it really is the trickle down. That's what he talks about too, that he empowered
Yes,
anyone that worked in his restaurant to see a need or to see or real you know what, Brianna? To just see someone for crying out loud, just to
that's
see them.
that's
Yeah.
right. I love
All
that.
right. So tell us a little bit about the journey to get there because I'm sure and as we're recording and if you're watching on YouTube, you do have an amazing closet/office that you're recording in front of.
Closet. I love this space. This is definitely a happy space for me in my home when I work from home. It is an office slash closet, but so
Who
much.
wouldn't want an office/closet if it looked like that, right? So we see that, we see your brand everywhere, and sometimes it's easy to see where someone is now and not really understand the journey to get there. We're gonna get into some other stuff too, but I would love to know, just a bird's eye view, how did that happen?
Oh man, it's certainly not been totally glamorous. I left Neiman Marcus, which was my most recent career position before starting this company in, I think, 2017. And my intention was to be a stay at home mom. At the time, I had two boys. And so I was leaving my career and planned on not working or doing maybe freelance work. And then I had an idea when I was trying to get dressed to go to a college football game about a pair of earrings. I just didn't have any accessories that I thought were perfect for my outfit. So I was just kind of whining to my husband, like, "I can't find anything I like, they don't exist." And he said, "You should make them and sell them." And I just immediately was like, "I don't like what? How would I do that?" And he's really good at eliminating excuses. He was like, "Well, what do you need?" And he just immediately goes into practical solution mode and provided, I mean, just immediately a name of his fraternity brother who owns a machine shop who can do all, like, he can cut the metal for you and we could do this. And I am very tech savvy. And so he's like, you could figure it out. And I mean, so he immediately was like, you should do it. This is an amazing idea. People would love those. And it started with just the idea for our own alma mater, Texas Christian University, TCU. And then he said, well, if we're doing it, we should probably do it for more schools. There's people at Ole Miss and Tennessee and Alabama and Texas and A&M that would love this. And so
Florida. Oh, no.
Florida, the games.
Okay.
And so we started as a game day jewelry business out of our house, like literally making the product by hand. And we worked out of our house for many years. We went to market for the first time 6 months after starting our business, and we sold to 450 stores in that first market. So it was instantly a company, like no time to really grow slowly. It just immediately exploded. It felt like an explosion at the time, especially because I was making them all by hand, and so accommodating that level of orders was shocking. And so we had to hire people quickly. We continued to work out of our house for years. Our 4,200 square foot home, I would say we were using at least 35 to 3,800 square feet of it for business. I mean, towards the end, it was an accumulation. It became more and more and more, but it was almost unlivable, I would say. It was quite a sacrifice, and we also had another child during that time, so that poor child was born into that environment. His room was the only really pretty spot in the house. I said, "His nursery has to be beautiful and perfect because the rest of the house is chaos." And then finally, we did move our business into a warehouse. We now have a retail store, and we have 2 showrooms, but it was not pretty for quite some time.
And I think well, so this podcast, the core of it, the heart of it is we talk about time. But
Yes.
there's so many other things that shoot off from that nucleus of time, right? It's not just time management, it's emotional management, priority management, energy management, all the things. And so one of the things that I think we hear a lot is it's not the right time. It's not the perfect time. I don't have time, right? If I only had more time, especially when it comes to thinking about starting something new or having an idea, could you speak to the woman that is in that place?
Oh
She
goodness,
has
yes,
a dream, but her plate is full. Brianna, how do you do
absolutely.
it?
I mean, it was not my intention to do this. So, it was not I wouldn't have said it was the right time. I literally was trying to not work, and then I
I was
started
gonna say, how's that stay-at-home mom thing working out for you?
30
Yeah.
days. I didn't do very well, but I don't think that there's necessarily a right time. I think that there is a right level of passion that you need to have in order to do this mentally. You have to really want something in order to be willing to make that sacrifice. There isn't ever going to be the time where you're like, "You know what? I just have all these extra hours for all of these things." We will fill our time with whatever is important to us, and just like in the Bible says, where your treasure is, where you spend your time. And so we can make excuses all day long, but if you really want to do something, then you just make time. And that means that other things do have to sacrifice. And so for me, it was my literal perfect, like my own living space. We had to sacrifice that. I sacrificed many, many hours of sleep, staying up until 5 a.m., making sure our website was ready to launch, making sure our products could ship on time, making sure we delivered on customer expectations. It was worth it to me because it's something that I wanted to pursue. And so it was a worthy sacrifice. But it is absolutely a sacrifice, and I don't know that there's ever just a time that you're going to go, "You know what? This is ideal. Now I have all these hours to dedicate to this business or this venture or hobby or project." There's never going to be just an absolutely perfect time. So it really is about your level of passion and commitment and just desire to do that.
One of the things you said really stood out to me. We can make excuses or we can make time. I
Yep.
mean, it's one or the other, and it's
Yes.
really up to us. No one's gonna hand it to us.
Yes.
Although, when we do have a husband who doesn't let us buy our own excuse, he's like, "You're a good salesperson, but you're not that good. Not gonna buy those excuses," right? Not gonna buy that.
Oh my god.
Um, I think if I can just speak freely on here too, there is a movement right now, Brianna, that is all about and I'm not against it, but it's all about you should be resting and you should not hustle and you need to unwind and you need to like there is a strong movement out there, especially in social media, and that sounds wonderful, but it's being given by women who have done the hustle already.
That's right.
Now they're reaping some of the reward of not having to grind like that, but I feel that they're doing women a disservice. Because if you do have a dream, it's gonna take the effort, and
You're
it's going to not always feel like you're in balance. Don't you think? I see that and I get a little frustrated because I think sometimes that gives us permission to just weenie out or say, if it's a little bit of work, oh, maybe I should feel guilty about it and not do it. Would you agree?
I do agree, and I think there's just different obviously different mentalities of people. There are people who want to achieve above and beyond, and then there's people who love the idea of achieving above and beyond. They're not interested in the actual work of it, which is completely fine. It's completely fine. I have women who work at our store part-time, 1 day a week, 2 days a week. Their priorities are just simply different. They're trying to achieve something different in their life, or they've already gone through their career and this is the season that they're in. I can't compare where I am with where somebody else is or what I want to achieve with what someone else wants to achieve. But what I know is that if I want to achieve something great, I can't expect what is it that my husband always says? He says extraordinary things cannot be accomplished with extraordinary effort or sacrifice without extraordinary effort or sacrifice. You have to have that extraordinary sacrifice in order to achieve something extraordinary. So if you want to put in a very balanced, a very restful amount of effort and time, then the results are going to be, just your average balanced results. And I mean, there is an actual imbalance that will take place in your life if you're wanting to achieve something amazing. So that's what we've seen growing this business. And a lot of people have also asked me about how that ties in with my family because I am a mom and there is a lot of pressure to I'm sure you were wanting to touch on that at some point, but since we're going there, I love it for my family, and it wouldn't work for every family, but I absolutely love it for my family and my 3 boys and my daughter on the way. I love them coming to the warehouse and packing orders with us. I love them seeing mom and dad hustle. I love them seeing that I can't just do every single thing that I want to do every day all the time because I'm trying to build this dream, and they could do it too. And I think it's really good for them to see. And I also think it's good for them to see that these things don't just happen, that we do have to put in work and time and sacrifice. And so it makes me really proud to operate our business with transparency so that our children are involved and they can see it and they can learn from it. But I also recognize that that wouldn't work for every family. And there are people who they prioritize being a homemaker, which is an exceptionally hard role. And I'm not even really sure if that would be easier or harder than what I'm doing, but it's just different. And so if you want to build something like a business, like what we've done, then there will be a period of many, many, many years that are not extremely balanced, and there will be a big sacrifice.
And at the same time as you're saying that, it makes me think, 'cause I've experienced that too with my kids watching me build build my brand and build what I'm doing, and my husband works for a family business, which so entrepreneurs there as well. And the way I think about it too, Brianna, is we want to model so many things for our kids, right? We wanna model kindness and generosity and compassion and all of those biblical things, right? The fruits of the spirit we wanna model. Yet sometimes it comes to hard work, and then we feel that guilt there. Like, but this is how they learn. They learn by watching us do it, and they learn by watching us do it with joy in the good times. They learn by watching us overcome challenges and obstacles as well. So, how honorable for our kids to be able to watch their mamas model something.
I
Boys
agree.
and girls both.
Proverbs 31 says, actually, it says she went to market and she made clothes and like all these things. And I'm sure she wasn't going to market in Dallas World Trade Center, but I do take that to heart, and it makes me feel really proud to do what I do.
Yeah. I've told the story before that we were having our very best year. And as a team, my son was, I think, 6. He was 6 years old. And our fiscal year was ending on June 30th. So on July 1st, we're out at the beach, right? And we're sitting out at the beach. And it was probably that little mom guilt, little, devil on my shoulder, I guess. And I said to my son, I said, Brayden, do you like it when mommy works a lot or mommy works a little?
Oh,
Now
no.
that I know, right? That was brave. That was scary and brave. And let me also be clear. When we're working a lot, we are not working as some women are in a factory or working 3 jobs and, at a restaurant and overnight. And then so I also want to acknowledge the different kinds of working hard, right? So but I said to him, "Do you like it when mommy works a lot or works a little?" Thinking, Brianna, he's going to say, "Well, mommy works a little," right? No, he looks at me, he goes, "I like it when mommy works a lot." I said, "You do?
Wow.
Why?" He goes, "Because I like it when we're winning."
Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
What a very smart little boy.
Yeah, he keeps me in line. He's 16 now, and he still drops those truth bombs that bring me back to perspective. Because now, as a teenager, whether it's on the soccer field or academics, guess what he likes to do? Work hard and win.
I love that. That's
And
incredible.
we
Good
don't
job.
always win, right? We don't always win when we're doing it, but we learn. We either win or we learn.
That's exactly
So,
right.
yeah.
I love that.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right, friend. So, you are the CEO and the designer, the sole designer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I am.
How do you structure that, whether it's mentally or physically? Because I'm sure you're pulled in a lot of different directions. So, are there any techniques or tricks or ways that you're able to compartmentalize or create boundaries? How does that work for you?
Well, I will preface this by saying I don't know how anyone would operate a sizable company without a tremendous amount of faith. So my faith in Jesus Christ, I think, is the only thing that allows me to stay sane. I just know that at the end of the day, we are selling beautiful things to customers that we love, but this is not life and death. And so that is really important to me that I maintain an eternal perspective and keep in mind that what I'm doing needs to stay in focus. It needs to be given the respect that it deserves, but it does not need to overpower my mental capacity or my emotions. And so that's really important to me. If my faith was not very strong, I would probably have a lot more challenging days than I do. But that being said, I do have to be quite flexible because every day, even though I have a plan for what I would like to do, I have a calendar with deadlines, I have a launch calendar, I have design deadlines, I have 1,000 trillion deadlines. But every day the business will tell me what's important. And the lovely thing about being a CEO is that all of the problems that no one else can handle get brought to me. And so I have to be the one that does a lot of these things because truly nobody else can do them. And so my priorities may have to change. And I just think being flexible is mandatory. When you are in a high level position in a company, it's absolutely mandatory. You don't get to say, oh, that wasn't on my schedule today. It just is on my schedule now because it's what the business requires today. And there are urgent needs that pop up. There are opportunities that pop up. We might get an email from a major customer because we do sell to like corporate accounts. We sell to fanatics and we make products for the Kentucky Derby and we make products for the NFL. So if somebody in one of our, major accounts calls and needs something, then that becomes a priority in that moment, and I just have to shift. So, to answer your question about being pulled in a million directions, I am pulled in a million directions, and my schedule does not always get to be exactly what I want it to be, but I am able to stay sane with it because I just understand that what the business needs in the like right now today is the most important thing, and the rest of it will get handled after this or tomorrow. I always just say several things seem to be on fire at any one time, and I have to pick a couple fires, and the rest of them are just gonna burn. And that's okay because it will get done. I have complete faith that it will get done. I have faith also in myself that I'm like, if I needed to stay up for 24 hours and I just needed to like power through and get all these things done, I could do it. I don't wanna do it, but I could do it. And so I just know that at the end of the day, again, it is not life and death, but it is important to me to be consistent and to deliver on those expectations for our customers. So I think identifying the priorities that are most important to our company is really, really pivotal, and sticking to that. So if it is something that will affect a customer, that is priority one. If it is something that will affect the long term growth of our business, that is priority two. If it is something that is just like a preference or something that I think is good but not entirely necessary, like, running an ad. Like I would love to I want to create a new ad, but it is not more important than what our customer needs today um something some big deadline that's going to prevent us from having product on time to sell for a launch down the road. Now, it is very difficult to establish these priorities when you're spending too much time working in the business that you cannot work on the business and then you can't move your business forward. That is a problem. And that's when it comes to having an amazing team, because if you don't have an amazing team, then you really can't get anything done. So, it's a lot. There's a lot that goes into it. It's a loaded question there, but it's all very important.
Well, I'm glad you started to unpack that. I was gonna ask you for clarification when the business tells you what's important, which, by the way, I just love how you said that, but you started to say that. The business tells you what's important
Mhm.
and you filter it through the priorities.
Yes.
So what might seem important, like, "Oh, I really need to get this ad out," but there's something that has greater value because of your values,
Yes.
that's how it takes precedence. So would you say too that, Brianna, it's knowing your own priorities and values, then
Yeah.
everything comes from that?
Absolutely. And you really have to there's days that there's certain things I love to do. Just like anybody, there's certain things I really love to do. I love designing. I love creating marketing pieces. I love there's things I enjoy. And so there are times that I literally force myself to I'm like, you're not allowed to touch these fun things until you do these not fun things. And I will just have to discipline myself to make that happen because you will want to do what you want to do, but it is not what the business necessarily needs in that moment. And so I have to really be disciplined, just mentally to be able to do what needs to be done first and then do the fun things.
I feel like that is a conversation I have with my teenagers. I
Yeah.
have a 14 and 16-year-old. Just wait, just wait. But we talk about, is it what I want to do now or is it what I want to do most?
Mhm.
Because what I want to do now is the easy thing or the thing that is so less effort. But what I want most is the thing that brings the best results or allows me to play later, right? Pay now,
Great point.
play later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long-term goals. I mean, long-term, what's the long-term vision that we have here? What success are we wanting to create for the company? So all those things are very important, but it's so very daily. It's so very daily. And so that's the challenge is just having that discipline daily. I think anyone can be disciplined for a few days, for a week, for maybe a month, but it is tough to do it day in and day out. And retail does not stop. I mean, I don't know very many businesses that do stop, but retail really, really doesn't stop. And so in this business, we have to be very consistent over a very long period of time in order to be successful.
I think too that one of the ways I've described it for myself, and I hear you saying, is you can fight it or you can flow with it, right? So you can fight it that something comes in, I don't want to do it, or I don't have the time. Or you can just say, you know what? I'm going to flow with it. This is what the business needs right now. I'm flexible enough to just shift, to not feel like it's an inconvenience, to not feel like I don't get to, you know, take that nap I wanted to take today. But I'm not gonna fight it, I'm gonna flow with it.
That's a great point. And I also like to remind myself that I can do hard things. I know that sounds very childish, but it's true. I have to tell myself all the time, like, this is fine. This is hard, but it's fine because I've done things that are extremely hard and I can do these things. And every January, I have to have this conversation with myself because we have a ton of trade shows all stacked up. I think I'm home for like 8 days in January. And and just not sleeping in my own bed very much, which I don't like. I don't really enjoy traveling for without my whole family. Like if my whole family's there, then fine, but I really like to be home. And so it is a massive sacrifice. But I tell myself, I'm like, it's like 3.5 weeks and I can be tough for 3.5 weeks. It is okay. And then I will go home and then it will be okay. So you have to remind yourself too that it's not like you're doing this forever. It's not 365 days of tough. It might be a few days of super, super tough. And then you can relax for a minute. And then you have some days that are tough. But you have to remind yourself that you can do these difficult things and keep that long-term vision in mind that you talked about. What's the thing that you really want? And what's that long-term goal? And it helps you survive those challenging days.
And that's where I was gonna go. What is the long-term goal? What is the vision with your 3 precious boys, your precious baby girl, and your husband, and your business? What is this working towards that's gonna make it worth it? I mean, it's worth it now already, but where are you going with it?
Well, that's so interesting because my husband and I have had that conversation multiple times and we don't really know. It's we just our philosophy is we want to be great stewards of the gifts that God has given us. My husband is a CPA by trade. He's our CFO. And so he's, gifted financially and helping our company move forward in a responsible financial manner. And then I have the marketing and the design side, the creative side, and I also have a business acumen as well. But we just want to use those talents to the very best of our ability. And we want to put ourselves in the position that when these unique, fun opportunities to grow present themselves, that we're able to capitalize on it. So we don't necessarily have a firm strategic plan. We're not like, this is exactly what we want to achieve because every time we've done that, honestly, it's God has been like, haha, that's funny. Here's a different plan. But it's a better plan. And so we are prepared to stay flexible. We're prepared to, I mean, honestly, if our business stayed this size forever, we would not be sad. We have a great business. We're very happy with the customers that we have. We love serving them. Do we want to grow? Absolutely. But I don't have a like a figure or a deadline or a hard goal in mind. We just want to do the very best job that we can every day. And then when these crazy opportunities come up, like, I mean, recently we had some very large companies approach us and they're like, can we work on some custom products together? And we're going, absolutely, because we are positioned with an excellent strong team that we have had in place. We are positioned with talents that we are able to use because of the way that we've prioritized our time and the way that we've built our team to take on additional opportunities. And then even if it does require, changing or adapting or evolving, we can do that too. We are flexible enough and we're not so rigid and not so stuck in this lane that's like, this is what we planned on doing, that we can't do these other things. So it is very important to us to just remain flexible and do a good job every day. We always say head down, work hard. That's what we like to do. Keep our head down, work hard. So I'm not really focused so much on where we're going, as which I know that almost sounds contradictory. It sounds like I should be focused on that, but it's more important to us to do a good job daily, and I think that when we do a good job daily, it sets us up for future success.
I think that's also part of, as a believer, part of the surrender, right?
Yes,
We are not in control. And it doesn't mean that surrender means sit down and let God make something out of nothing. But it
yes.
is, and so Brianna, every morning, and I did it today, I surrender my day after my prayer time. And I go through everything. I surrender the walk that I'm on and my workout and my this, and I surrendered our podcast, which just means I'm prepared for it. But
Correct.
if I think I'm supposed to turn left and God turns me right, I'm cool with it.
Great
Like,
too.
let's go.
Yes.
Let's go for the ride.
Yes, I heard something great. I was listening to some video on Instagram the other day, and it said, just like Moses being given the promised land, he's like, God, if you are not there, then I don't want it. And that's exactly how we feel. Is we just want to go where God leads our business truly. And if it is here, or even if it's smaller, like even if our business, went down in size or something, if we had to scale back, that would be fine too, because we truly believe that whatever God's will is for us and for our family and our business, that is the best place to be. So I think that relieves a lot of concern, a lot of worry, a lot of anxiety, because I don't feel that it needs to be up to me. I just feel that I need to do a good job every day.
Yeah. There's a worship song. I remember when we were considering moving into the house that we're in right now. And there's a worship song that says, I won't move without you. And of course, it means do anything without you. But I took it literally. I'm like, I will not move without you. So you open the door or you close the door. And I know too, and maybe this is a good perspective on your vision. People throw around the word luck. And obviously as Christians, we don't believe in luck, but we'll just use it for this example. They say that luck is when opportunity meets preparation.
Mhm.
So really what you're doing is you're just setting yourself up for what God wants because you're open to opportunity, but you're prepared at the
That,
same time.
that's right. And I tell my boys that too. I said, just because you're waiting on God's timing, or you are willing to move and pivot according to God's plan, doesn't mean you can't be prepared. It does not mean you didn't put in the work. That's super important. We have to be prepared. Otherwise, when those opportunities present themselves, we can't do it. We can't jump on it. So it is very, very important to do the work every day and to use those gifts and refine those gifts and learn from everything every day, all the time. And then when God does present wild opportunities like he does, then you're ready.
And I would say too, you don't have to be perfectly prepared, right? This whole podcast is about perfect-ish. So you don't have to know everything like you didn't when you were first getting those first orders in for all the earrings,
Well,
but
it's
you
funny that
were
you
prepared enough.
we have had several employees, like especially new employees. I mean, it's starting anything. They're like, "Oh, I haven't been trained on that," or "Oh, I haven't, learned that yet," or whatever. And I'm like, "It's okay, it's okay." I said, "Some stuff you're not even going to learn until you just do it." I said, "Because we don't have we're not a 30-year-old company that has this like giant handbook of like how we do everything." I said, "It is. We like to work smarter, not harder. We like to do what makes sense. That's one of my big taglines. Do what makes sense." And I said, I didn't know how to run a company before I ran this company either. No one trained me to do that. So it's truly just a figure it out mentality. And I think we have a pretty awesome team of just go getters who love to figure it out. That entrepreneurial mentality is huge for us. Those are the type of people we like to hire. And I'm like, does it make sense? If it doesn't make sense, don't do it. If it makes sense, then do it. and you have a lot of resources available to you to be able to figure things out. So even just people who are wanting to get going in something and feeling like they don't have enough knowledge, I've heard that 1,000 million times. I need a little bit more experience. You really don't. You just really don't. You need to
And
just
then
do it.
And there's something empowering when you do figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
instead of somebody just spoon feeding it to you. Yes, they can give you some guidance or wisdom, but isn't it just like the best when you think, I did that? I figured it out and it was not easy, but man, like I feel like I'm standing tall.
Yes, feel very accomplished, and I'm also really big on speed. I like to do things very fast, and so I truly every skill, including figuring things out, it is a skill to be able to do that. Is a critical thinking is a skill that you have to use and employ in everything that you're doing. But the more you do it, the better you get at it. So I've realized now that I'm pretty good at figuring things out. And if I had to wait on someone to teach me to do it, it would take longer. And that's annoying to me. And so I'm very like, let's go, let's go. And so everything I do is quick and fast. And so I love knowing that I honestly, I'm like, if you challenged me to like build a house, like I might not physically be able to do it, but I could figure it out and I will find the people to help me. So I think I could figure out almost anything. And that's not because of my own abilities. That's because of a skill that I have practiced that God has given all of us. And it's just a fun thing to see flourish when you have the opportunity to use it every day in a business like I do.
Yeah. It's your figure out muscle that you just keep
Yes,
using.
that's
Girl, I
right.
feel like you're my spirit animal with that.
Thank you.
All right. So, where can people find more of you and your amazing designs and your amazing brand? Because I think, too, Brianna, it's one thing to see something pretty. Okay. I love my earrings. I love my sunnies. I love my headband. But knowing the mission behind a brand, now I know where my dollars are going and I want to support that. So, where can we find all the pretties? Tell us how we can get more of you.
That's so sweet. Well, we have quite a few different channels where you can find us. I would say number one, first and foremost, and the biggest part of our business is e-com. So it's online, briannacannon.com. And that's our retail website. We fulfill everything out of our own warehouse in Plano. I've been told a billion times that we're faster than Amazon. So if you place an order, it's probably going to ship the next day. It's pretty darn quick. So we're very proud of that. We take a lot of pride in being very quick and shipping locally from our own warehouse here in Texas. Secondly, you can find us on social media. So our Instagram is at Brianna Cannon Official on Instagram, and then Facebook is the same thing at Brianna Cannon Official. We are on TikTok, but I'm not really good at it, so maybe just Instagram. But we love social media and we love interacting with our customers on social media and sharing customer content. That's one of my favorite things. Seeing our customers wearing our product, nothing makes me happier in business than that. So I love interacting with customers on social media. And then we also are a major player in wholesale, which is stores that come to market and they buy our products. And so our products have actually been sold to about 3,500 stores nationwide. I wouldn't say right now at like every single one of those stores has an assortment of our products, but we've sold to
But
about
they should. But they should.
the way they can. And so if there's a boutique near you, for instance, that you're like, this is my favorite place to shop, and I wish I could walk in and find Brianna Cannon products here, they could buy from us. They're allowed to if they're a physical store. So we have a showroom at the Atlanta market, which is America's Mart in Atlanta. And we have a showroom in Dallas. And then we also have a wholesale website that's dedicated to those retail partners. And so we love selling to stores as well. So selling wholesale and selling retail are both two things that we're very passionate about. Those are huge, huge pieces of our business. And then we also have our own flagship store in Plano, Texas, which is a really beautiful slice of heaven that our customers love to visit. We've had customers visit from states away. We've had people from Pennsylvania and Tennessee and just to come and experience our retail store. So we only have one store of our own, but it is the only place where you can touch and feel every product. And it is a pretty happy little place. So I would love for anyone to come visit our flagship store if you want to, and if you don't have a store near you that carries the product, because I will say everything is better in person. It's cute online. We do a really we do a very intentional job of trying to capture the product well, but everything is better in person.
I have been to your store and I have to echo everything you said. It is truly the happiest. You just kind of twirl around and look at everything and then try to decide where you're going to start to look at it all. So it's beautiful. I also want to shout out that we've had Jessica Hughes from Pink and Red, which is in Myrtle Beach. She is a store that carries you. We had her on the show just a few weeks ago. And thank you for reminding me of that. Pizzazz in Gulf Breeze, Florida is my favorite little spot. I'm going to be talking to Courtney, the owner. Courtney, we need to carry Brianna Cannon. What in the world are we even
We
doing?
would love that. We would
Okay, I'm on it. Now, you said that you love to see everybody wearing your pieces, enjoying it, and rumor has it, you have a little code for us that we can get started if we haven't already had some Brianna Cannon pieces. So I know we'll put this in the show notes, but Perfect-ish 15, I believe.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Perfect-ish 15 for 15% off of your entire purchase on our website.
On our website. Perfect. Oh my goodness. I love it. So, Brianna, I always have a gift for my guests. And sadly, it's a pretend gift, but you will get a thank you note in the mail. But but it's a pretend gift. But it is the gift of a bonus hour. And we hear about the many hats that you wear, and we know that you have a lot that is on your schedule. But if I gave you an extra 60 minutes that didn't have to come out of anything else, what would you do with your bonus hour?
Oh my goodness. Well, a bonus hour would be awfully fun, but I imagine I would spend it with my boys because I'm pretty good at turning work off when I need to turn it off, unless there's some, extenuating circumstance or special project that I'm working on, but I'm pretty good at turning it off. So if I could get an extra hour with my kids, I would do that for sure.
Well, I pray then in the next week or two, especially, that you would find yourself in that bonus hour feeling with your boys and just enjoy, again, the people that are your priority and why you do what you do. So may you find that hour and then message me after and say, Callie, I just had my bonus hour and it was so delightful.
Well, I'll make time for my bonus hour. That sounds
There
good.
you go. That's the whole idea. That's the whole idea. Well, Brianna, thank you so much for giving of your everything with us today and sharing your story and giving us challenges and also encouragement. You have been a blessing. You are the real deal. You really are. And it's so fun to see the heart behind the beautiful face, behind the brand. I love how you talk about your faith. I love how hands-on you are. I love your flair. So thank you for giving everything you've got to us
Well,
today.
you're quite a cheerleader, and I appreciate that. This has been really fun for me, so I appreciate your invitation to come on and talk. I think it's awesome. I think your content is awesome and your topics are awesome, so I'm happy to be here. Appreciate it.
Thank you, friend. And we do have to shout out to our mutual friend, Crystal, for bringing us together. Thank you, Crystal. I think you and I should go out and celebrate by getting some new merch of some sort.
I love that. Oh my goodness. Y'all are sweet.
Thank you. Thank you again, Brianna. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Until next time, God bless. Thanks for tuning in to the Perfect-ish Time Management Podcast. Let's keep the fun going. Follow me on social and join our Facebook community. And if you're ready for some one-on-one time management coaching to reach the top of your game without burnout or guilt, I'd love to chat. Book a free interest call using the link in the show notes or send me a DM. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a 5-star review and share it with a friend who's ready to master their time too. Remember, we're in this together, making real progress towards becoming perfect-ish.